Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me zoom in. I didn't have to drive in the rainy, cold weather. Look who it is. Yeah, I see. Is that the IT guy again? Okay, I'm looking right now. Let's see. I saw an email pop up. Hey, Mr. President, how are you? Good, good. I appreciate being able to zoom in and not drive in this messy weather.
Everybody ready to go? All right. Good. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. It's April 18th, Monday. We're here for the Poolesville Town Commissioners meeting. Present in the room are Town Manager Wade Yost, Town Engineer John Strong. We have Town Attorney Jay Gullo live and in person, live on tape, Zoom, everywhere else. Here with us tonight, as well as Commissioners Ed Reed, Martin Radigan, Jeff Eck. Carrie Cook couldn't make it tonight. She's not feeling well. Jeff, if you could, would you start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So when I give Jeff the cue to do the Pledge of Allegiance, we got to be ready. That thing gets fired up. It gets fired up very quickly. Very good, Jeff. Thank you for that. Thanks for leading us off in that. Commissioner announcements. Ed, what do you have for us, buddy?
Just announcement to Poolesville Baptist Church with pastor over there is doing a Men of Poolesville breakfast on Saturday, coming up this Saturday.
This Saturday?
This Saturday. So just want to give a shout out for the work that they're doing. And
That's
so
awesome.
I believe it's from 8 to 10 o'clock.
Invited.
Anyone from Poolesville?
Really?
Yeah,
If you're in the-
Men of Poolesville.
All right, we
Men
got-
of Poolesville, that's what it is. So,
So what time is it
I
again?
believe it's from 8 to 10 o'clock over at Poolesville Baptist Church. And so,
That is awesome.
yeah, I went last month. They had something there, and really good program. They're gonna do it again, and so yeah, some of the different folks are coming through.
Did they have speakers?
Yes, they do. They do have a speaker, and I'll look it up and let you know before we leave
Okay.
who the speaker is. But it's
Great.
it is a gentleman who has a lot of ties to Poolsville. But I'll get the
Interesting.
speaker and let you know.
I can actually make it this Saturday. That sounds like a lot of fun.
23rd.
That's a great announcement. Thank you. I appreciate that. Martin, what you got for us,
I
brother?
don't have any announcements tonight.
Nothing from Martin. Jeff.
I have a couple if you don't mind. So there's the Poolsville Earth Day with Poolsville Green, and that is on April the 21st at 7 o'clock. And you can join Executive Director of Poolsville Green, Joyce Brainer. And you can get more information on the poolsvilleseniors.org website. Also, there's going to be a visit to the Glenstone Museum. That's at Potomac, or it's in Potomac on Thursday, April 28th. And I have a friend who works there, and he says that museum is really quite extraordinary.
So what? Give me that again. What's going on with Glenstone?
There's the Poolsville seniors are organizing a visit
Okay.
to that museum.
How old? How young can you be to do that?
Well, I qualify, I'm 70, so.
Okay. Well, yeah. I
don't
think
know that
you.
minimum
I think you overqualified, but that's still good.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's also, I guess everybody already knows, there's going to be a District 2 candidate forum, and that's going to happen here in Poolsville, actually, yes. There's also, I'll get to that in a moment, there's also a Marilyn Balcombe, for those of you who are interested, is going to have a meet and greet at the Barking Mad Cafe in Gaithersburg for District 2, and that is on April the 25th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And she has sent out an email so you can register for that. The Barking Mad Cafe, it's on 239 Spectrum Avenue in Gaithersburg. I can send you this if you like.
Try to get that right for the. Okay. Very good.
Okay,
There's somebody
thank you.
paying attention. There.
Also,
good.
Kate Longbreak. Kate Longbreak is the executive director of WUMCO, and she's requesting help on May the 5th at 7 p.m. to hear more about, not help, but to learn more about WUMCO and the services that they provide, and they've been providing those services for more than 50 years in Poolsville. I also want to mention the Poolsville Seniors, again, has a book club, and they're going to be meeting on May the 16th at 7 o'clock to discuss the origins of our discontent book. I don't know, by Isabel Wilkerson. The Ken Scholes, everyone knows Ken Scholes, a local historian, and on May the 19th is going to be making a presentation on the incredible historic homes in the Agricultural Reserve. And you probably have, or may have taken some of the walking tours with Ken Scholes, and those are always very interesting, a chance to get outdoors and whatnot. The Poolsville Seniors has also sent out a notice. The Montgomery County Police is warning residents about scam calls relative to gift cards. Only a couple more things here. The Historic Medley District and the John Pool House are looking for volunteers. It didn't actually say what the volunteers would do, but they need some helpers. Earth Month, or Earth Day, or Earth Month is April. Earth Day is April the 22nd, and the theme this year is Invest in Our Planet. And again, the Poolsville Seniors encourages everybody to be respectful of the earth. There's also a studio tour for the Countryside's Artisans, and the tour is on Countryside Artisans Spring Gallery Studio Tour from 10 to 5, starting on Friday, April 22nd through the 24th, which I guess is a Monday. And then also, April is the National Volunteer Month. And again, the Poolsville Seniors encourage everyone to be engaged in volunteering in whatever organization fits their needs. Only a couple more things, if you don't mind. And I think I mentioned this last time, but, just because I have short memory, so there's going to be Essence Dance Studio is having the ribbon cutting. That's the formerly Hope Garden Ballet on Saturday, April the 23rd at noon. And also the Face of America bike ride. So these are the military veterans are having their bike ride on Saturday, April the 23rd. And they have their lunch stop at Lewis Orchard. So you can expect several hundred at least, maybe 400 or 500, possibly more, bicycle riders coming up Route 28 and stopping for lunch at the Lewis Orchard. There's also, I think I mentioned before, there's a groundbreaking at Crossvines. That's at the Poolsville Golf Course on Thursday, April 28th at noon. The Poolsville Area Chamber of Commerce is having a gathering at the Landmade Brewery on Wednesday, April 27th at 6 p.m. So any Poolsville Area Chamber of Commerce members are invited. Also, the Poolsville Area Chamber of Commerce is working on the directory. It's a 2-year directory. So if you want to get your advertisement in the directory, please contact Kathy Bupp. And I think I already mentioned Marilyn Balcombe and the candidate forum, the County Council District 2 here at Poolsville Town Hall on Thursday, the 28th at 6 p.m. And also the County Executive Candidate Forum at Wayland Commons. I think, Commissioner Brown, you're organizing that? On Sunday, May the 22nd at 6 to 7:30 p.m. And so that's all my announcements. I have one other topic, not really an announcement.
We'll come back to that. Why don't we say that, let me do a quick announcement, and then we'll
Okay.
get Ed for one for this, and then we'll go from there. And that's it, and then we'll go from there. So is that it for now?
Yes.
So I come back to you?
Yes, yes.
Good. All right, so just on my side, and I'll get into all the fair access stuff, but thank you for bringing that up. And Jeff and I both serve on the chamber board, as I said, we've got a number of ribbon cuttings and things going on, and the chamber is also co-sponsoring all 3 of our candidate forums, which will be District 2, obviously the county executive, and then also the at-large candidates, because they play just as critical a role as anybody does in what we do. So much appreciated to the chamber and the organization for everybody pitching in to do that. And as Jeff says, we are all working hard on getting the directory lined up, some harder than others. Appreciate all the hard work for everybody's work on that. So, and the directory is kind of a crack up. People talk about it and say that, why do we still do a directory when it's all online? But it is a big fundraiser for the chamber too. So it's not just like it's a directory, but it's also a fundraiser. So it does dual purpose. Anyway, so that's it. And we'll be back with a little more fair access when I get to it. Ed?
Sure, just going back, giving some details for those interested in the Men of Poolsville breakfast at the Poolsville Baptist Church. It is going to start at 8 a.m. The speaker is Fletcher Honemond, Honemond, and he's going to be talking about success in every stage of life. And for those who are interested, you can register on the Poolsville Baptist Church website. It's poolsvillebaptist.com, and go to the men's ministry, and you can click on there to register for that breakfast. This is something that they're looking at. Pastor Joel Gilbert, they're looking at doing this quarterly. So, all right, and that's it, Jim. I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you for that, and appreciate the information. I'm definitely going to try and go. That sounds like a lot of fun. Love having the local talent to show up. Jeff, go ahead, back to you.
Well, this is not an announcement.
Understood.
Yeah, so this is maybe just more of a statement on my part. I'm quite dismayed by a recent email dated April 7th from a commissioner towards an employee. I believe this represents bullying behavior by a commissioner that needs to be called out and confronted. I am intentionally omitting the commissioner's name because the bullying was done by an internal email. I've had the unfortunate experience of dealing with bullying behavior. It is enabled by silence, as silence equals acceptance. Further, I believe it's a person's obligation to protect others, especially when the victim is an employee. This would have been a non-issue if the commissioner had privately discussed the matter with the town manager. However, the commissioner decided to broadcast an email to the employee, including the town manager, including the town attorney, including all 5 commissioners, and including town hall. I feel that there's an expectation to avoid controversy by saying or doing nothing and not standing up to this behavior. This is wrong. As a firefighter, I do not shrink from protecting others. One more point, please, Commissioner Brown. If I receive another, not the first, but if I receive another nasty email from this commissioner, I will immediately send it to Randy Davis. Thank you for this time, Commissioner Brown.
Appreciate you standing up for your beliefs there, Jeff, and thanks for that announcement.
You're welcome.
And we'll move on from there.
Yep.
Well done. Okay, so for the Commissioner Committee reports, Carrie's not here, but does anybody have anything in terms of events, or Wade, do you have any commentary on that at all? If the answer is no, then we just move on to
As far
next
as I know,
month.
everything is on schedule. Fishing tournament's next, and then,
The
Spring
the
Fest
variety of
after that,
spring
so it's
spring
just the
events.
Same thing that she announced last time.
Okay, very good. Good to hear. Martin, what do you have for us, sir?
Come back to me in a second, please.
Got it, no worries. Ed? We'll come back to you too.
No, I'm ready. And so our Sustainable Poolsville Committee will meet next week, and so nothing new since the last time that we spoke.
Got it. Thank you for that. Fair access, as Jeff alluded to, we have 3 candidate debates coming up. Those are going to be our big pushes in terms of, ingratiating ourselves to the people that are going to be running the county and our section of the state over the next few years. So this is a great chance for all of the Poolsville public to come out, and we will be hitting it heavy on Facebook and everywhere else so people can see. And we want as much attendance as possible, because obviously these are big deals for us. These relationships that we forged almost 4 years ago have been the linchpin for us getting the gains that we've had in terms of the new high school, potentially wellness center, et cetera, all the things that we've been working on. So the chance for the people of Poolsville to stand up and be counted for is coming up on 3 different candidate forums that are going to be well advertised. Again, starting here, the one on the 28th, and then going from there. As far as the rest of fair access goes, we've been talking and strategizing about White's Ferry. It seems it's such a shame we've actually at the point now devoted as much time to White Ferry as we have to all of the other initiatives that we've been working on. But we do have some strategic points that we're working on, and there'll be more to come. But I think we're working on a rally that will take place down at White's Ferry, and we're just trying to figure out the scope of it and how we're going to put it all together. So in terms of fair access, those are the biggies for us right now. Jeff, do you want to do parks?
I do. Now,
Thanks for that. Okay, Martin, you ready?
I'm ready. So the last week we met, the planning commission met, and we had a couple minor things on the agenda. The Grace Cottages, which is a small development, was approved. Wade came up with some language for accessory structures, and that was discussed and approved. You can see all these at the agenda site on the if you want to look at the PDFs. And then we also set a date for the visioning workshop, which is for the comprehensive plan, and that is going to be Saturday, May 14th at 10 in the morning, and it'll go until about noon. And that was discussed extensively, and there's all kinds of events they're going to have. They're going to have hand out like fake money, and you like can put your money down on what's important to you, and then all kinds of good strategies. It sounds like it's going to be a really successful and important event. They're going to have like activities for children. There's going to be somebody playing music, I think. We talked about the possibility of getting a bounce house for, to keep kids entertained. And Wade mentioned he's going to advertise it and get it out there. And we should all talk it up because it's, this is important. This is our future. So get the word out for that. And that's about it.
So that's going to be an event that's orchestrated by the consulting company, I would imagine.
In conjunction with us, yeah.
In conjunction with the Planning
But they're
Commission.
pretty much running it. We gave them some parameters. I would say we mostly followed their suggestions. This is not their first rodeo. They've done many of these, and they seem like they're very sharp. So
It's great.
Should be a well-run event and a good event, productive event.
They have a target date yet?
Yeah, May 14th at
May
10 o'clock.
14th, 10 to noon,
10
here
to
at
noon.
Wayland Commons, right?
Here at Wayland Commons, yep. And I think there'll be tents here, so if it's raining, we'll have to scramble a little bit, but we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll have a 20 by 40 tent set up with tables underneath of it. They have their displays and boards are going to set up all around. And there's a kids area too they're going to have. So they've got it planned up fairly well.
Great. Are they the same tents staying up for the following weekend? Is that what we're doing? Is that our
Exactly
plan?
right. Yep.
Okay, got it.
Come on.
I just
Jim.
wanted
Jeff,
to
go ahead.
make one quick observation. A while back when I went to the MML conference, and one of the sessions that I went to was soliciting a public input and so on, like plans like this. And one of the best practices, as Martin is now using, was to have the public come and put sticky notes so that they could kind of vote on various items, but not to have 100 items, because then everybody gets kind of lost in how many items. So I think that's a great idea that Martin has in terms of,
Well, it's not my idea. It's
yeah, well, having the monopoly money or however.
Agreeing to it.
You can kind of put your money where your mouth is on the items that you like. So I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Martin.
No, I get the feeling they've done many of these, and they're very good at what they do, from things I've heard from Tony and Wade and, other people. So I think that, we're going to end up with a really good master plan.
Yeah, oh, cool, thank you.
Sorry, comprehensive plan, that's what we're supposed to call it now.
I wasn't going to correct you. Okay, very good. Okay, good. I'm just adding this on my calendar, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right, very good. Anything else from the Planning Commission?
Yep.
Okay, great. That's it for our committee reports. So we have minutes from April 4th. Hopefully everybody got a chance to get a look at them. Does anybody have any questions for them? No questions? All right, could I have a motion to approve the minutes for April 4th, 2022?
So moved.
Moved by Martin, second.
Jeff?
Second by Jeff. Any other questions? All those in favor of approving the minutes of April 4th, 2022, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Motion passes 4-0. Very good. Public comment. Anybody in the queue, gentlemen? Okay. Very good. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Old business. Resolution 001-22, water and sewer rates. The documents we've had for a while, and we've had our public hearing on this already. And it's time to vote unless there needs to be more conjecture or conversation on it.
I'm ready to vote.
Okay.
Good.
You want a motion?
Gotcha. Yeah, give me a motion. Give me some good
All right,
language on
just,
that.
help me here, Jay, if let me know if I'm wrong here, but I make a motion that we approve resolution number 001-22, water and sewer rates for FY23, is that right?
Yep.
Sound good?
Actually, the effective date is July 1st, 2022.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
effective date July 1st, 2022.
Right, so it's not, it is still FY23, but it is,
Right.
but it,
Yeah.
right, yeah, gotcha. Okay, so we have a
Does
motion.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's solid.
Good.
So we have a motion to approve resolution number 001-22, setting the water and sewer rates for FY23 effective July 1, 2022. Do we have a second?
I'll second his motion.
Second from Ed. Any other discussion on the water and sewer rates? None? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, that motion has passed 4-0. Thank you for that, and thanks for all the good conversations to all the commissioners and the feedback from all the residents on this as well. We've had some good spirited discussions, including the addition of a special water rate for those that are just going to be filling their pool. So again, thanks to everybody for your good conversations on that. All right, very good. So now we have, next up, our budget and tax rate, again, subject to a public hearing at our last meeting. No further commentary from anybody on that I'm aware of?
There's been none.
Been none. Again, I thank the people of Poolesville for playing this out a little bit on Facebook and other places where we've had some dialogue. It's welcome. And appreciate all the contribution of the commissioners in terms of representing the town of Poolesville in terms of our goals. So do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 219, the FY23 budget?
So moved.
So we have a motion on the floor for the approval of ordinance number 219, FY23 budget. Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second the motion.
Second from Ed. Is there any other questions on this? Nope.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Sure, this is the time.
I know I should have asked this weeks ago, but my understanding is the tax rate is remaining the same.
That is correct.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes. Yep. Okay, very good. Anything else? Anybody else? All those in favor of approving the ordinance number 219 FY23 budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Nope. Okay, we have a budget. Good news. Very good. Farmers Market, next up on the agenda. Obviously, we've had some discussions on this in the past. I want to say up front that I made a small mistake on the last go-around and said it was just a craft fair. That was out of line. I give a lot of credit to the ladies that have put this together, Lori and Elise. If anything, my offhand remark has generated even more conversations, and that's been good for the use of the farmers market. So, ladies, if you're listening to me, my apologies, and to anybody else that's been working hard for the farmers market in the past. Wade, can you give us some background here? You've had some conversations this week.
Sure, I have. Actually, it's two kind of components here. There was an email sent out by one of the commissioners kind of asking, what's the policy for insurance regulations or whatever as far as permitting the parks out. So I put together a memo, and it kind of just outlines it that anybody who is going to have a money-making venture on park property has to have a permit. If you do not have a money-making venture, like the Bikes for Breakfast, because this has been a question people have been talking about too, or the Moms Club that meets in the parks on a regular basis, they are not required to get a permit. However, if somebody else does come in and get a permit and use the space over here, the parking lot, like electric vehicles or whatever, they would supersede theirs, and if they'd kicked out, they wouldn't be able to be there. So there's not a requirement to have a permit, but if you do, it supersedes anybody who doesn't have it is already at the park. Okay, just want to lay that out there. It's right in the parks regs and rules. They were readopted in 2019. There's also a requirement that organizations do not have to go to the Parks Board. It's done administratively now. So there's no need, they won't be going back to the Parks Board anymore. I didn't realize that was actually adopted and had been done, and I don't think staff did either. We all went through the documents, and everybody's on board with the, what the requirements are now.
We did do a few things while you were gone. You know that. Some right, too.
I'm catching up.
All right, good.
And then as far as insurance requirements, it says very clearly in the regulations that organizations submitting permit applications shall submit a certificate of insurance, which includes proof of liability insurance, agent's name, policy numbers, and such things. And so right now, I've also made a list of all the spring permits that we do have in place. Earlier, there's only a couple that did have permits, but a lot of them didn't. Kathy's been making the calls, and we're collecting all the insurance certificates, and we have almost every one of them in place right now. So no permits will be issued or used until they do have their insurance certificates in place. Okay. So that just kind of clear the air as far as that goes. Is there any questions on that part of it? Okay. And that is all in the regs and rules.
I do have a question. And at the last commissioner meeting, Town Attorney Jay Gullo kind of gave us a brief rundown on the requirements for insurance, and that still stands. Is that correct?
This is actually exactly what Jay was saying. I mean,
Okay.
it matches exactly what he was saying.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
So we still need to tackle that, however we're going to tackle it, we need to still tackle it.
Yes,
Insurance,
yes,
okay.
exactly.
All right.
So back, now back to the farmer's market, which is kind of
Yeah.
preceded all this. Kathy and I met with Lori Savage and Elise Wendland on Thursday, April 14th, and we talked about some of their biggest challenges that they had. And Elise did say, we did say before that we would like maybe the town to take a controlling part in it or take it over or something. And so we got into the, why? What's that going to do for you? So insurance and have an organizational structure were the two things. I mean, that's really what they're looking for. If one of those girls, ladies that are running it now, which are doing a great job, they're networking with everybody, I mean, they're both so sharp. If one of them were to go get another full-time job or something, they don't want the market to fall flat on their face. I mean, they're putting a lot of effort into it and networking and stuff, and so I get it. So they need some structure behind them to help it succeed and grow as far as that goes. So I laid out 3 possible scenarios of how the town could possibly help in this. One is if the town to take it on like the event committee. And I'm going to use examples of what we have in place right now, okay? So the event committee, which is really not a town committee because it wasn't appointed, there's not by resolution, the committee members are not appointed by the commissioners. They're more like volunteers that help out a town department, which is the Recreation Events Department. And they help out at the events, so it's a little bit of a different structure. But I can say right now, with the way things are going, we don't have the staffing or the expertise to take on a farmer's market. We could help, but that's not going to alleviate any of their problems at this moment, what they're looking at. Second option would be to take it on as a committee, much like Fair Access, and where you have a resolution and you appoint people to the boards, and then they have big chair people and secretaries, and they have their own structure that's built in underneath an umbrella as far as the town goes. That's all good stuff. I don't know if that still addresses any insurance, even though they're part of the town, and Jay can speak to that. We've talked to some other farmers markets, and they still require an insurance certificate as they come into it, as far as being a vendor.
Would that still basically put all the work on the 2 ladies?
Well, hopefully they would be like the chair and vice chair, starting out with an organizational structure.
Yeah, create a structure.
So yes, because they are experts at it. I mean, they're very good at what they do. So we would certainly want them involved no matter what. I mean, yeah. And so, and then the town would be like, Kathy or whatever, and be the staffer for them and help them out and kind of be almost like over there at Fair Access and helping them market things and set things up and make sure the budget's in place and all that kind of stuff. Third option, and we did talk about this, was becoming a 501(c), much like the Poolsville Day Committee or even the seniors do. And I let them know that we have a grant program in place because it does take, there's a cost with setting it up, attorney fees and such. And if they did that, we could treat them like that. And we also contacted, which Lori told me, Olney has a market that doesn't require their vendors to get certificates. But that's because they're a 501(c), and the Friends of Olney, it's what it's called, they carry their own event certificate for farmers markets, and they cover all their people. I think she said some of the larger vendors that come in have their own because they have farms and different stuff just to protect themselves, but it's not required. And when she told me that, there's some young kids in town that grow vegetables, tomatoes, whatever, cucumbers in the backyard, and they want to come to the market and sell. Well, it's kind of, a kid's not going to be able to have an insurance policy. I get that, and that's kind of a bad thing in any other scenario. So it kind of, as we talk through it, and, it's definitely a commissioner thing, and they were going to be here, and not tonight, but we can follow the conversation through and see if there's something the town's open into doing. One of the 3 scenarios, and definitely the 501(c) seems like it would cover all the aspects of what they're looking for. So.
And it sounds like under all the scenarios, we have to give them insurance. Is that right? Or are you talking about the 501(c)(3) scenario? They would get their own insurance.
They would get their own, but they could still, just like Poolsville Day, or they come and ask for a budget each year to get them off the ground. The seniors did for probably 4 or 5 years, I think.
Is that going to be cost effective for them? I don't know what is. I guess you probably don't have any idea what something like that costs. Yeah. No. I just worry that it's such a skeleton group of people, they don't have a lot of resources, that short of giving them more town help, it might not succeed. It might kind of just.
Oh, no, we would definitely, that's what I'm saying. We would probably give them a grant each year to pay for their insurance policy. That's kind of what I'm alluding to, yes.
And Martin's talking about manpower.
Do you think they have the resources to find other people to come and all that stuff? Are they
Well, we could still help them out the same way. Anyway, they go here.
Okay, so we could still dedicate some a little bit of staff time if we needed to. That's good. Yeah.
Any scenario, that's going to happen.
And it didn't. Correct me if I'm wrong. We put a little bit of money in the budget for economic development, did we not?
We did.
Yeah, that maybe there's a part-time job, for somebody that can, maybe that could be part of a.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Neither one of them they have too much going on. I mean, they weren't interested in doing it, so I don't know who that would be or what that would look like.
I'm not
but-
talking about one of them doing it. I'm talking about if we were to hire like a standalone person that
Oh, just to do-
part-time person, like we got a part-time grant writer or something that, works remotely, somebody that could do economic development, and this could kind of fall under that umbrella. Just a thought.
Okay, I hadn't thought
I
of
mean,
that.
there's certainly like things for an economic development person to do here. I mean, we need, we don't have much of a. Carrie started like a fledgling organization that and then COVID hit, and that. I mean, so, and commissioners have their hands full with volunteering and doing stuff. So I mean, like it'd be nice to have somebody that could do this stuff and help out our local businesses, and then maybe the farmers market as well. I do think it's like a nice amenity for the town. I think it's a nice feature for our residents to have a farmers market, much like we have Friday on the Commons and other things like that too.
I just want to say I very much agree with Martin. I think having a farmer's market on Wayland Commons is something that draws a lot of people. I think it shows off the town and the agricultural reserve and whatnot. Were one of these three possible options recommended by you, Wade?
I think we need more discussion. I mean, myself, I think what's best for them would be the 501(c)(3) going forward.
Yeah.
But certainly, we need to sit down with them and to make sure this is what they're, feel the same way about it. And we didn't really talk about the other two options. We said we'd help out and do different things, and I'll go into some of those additional things in a minute. But just as far as the organizational structure, I think that was a very important component to their needs.
Do you think it would make any sense? I'm just thinking out loud here to like have a session like where we kind of all sat down like a charrette kind of thing and just talk with them and sort of like spitballed things and like try to figure out like what they're after, what we're after.
And that's what Kathy and I did, but to have you guys in it, so I'm
Yeah.
just reporting back to you.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
No, I agree with that. I agree with the idea of supporting the farmers market, and just what I'm looking at is providing that, how do we help lead in providing support for that structure, and then, but to the point where I like the 501(c) piece, because that gives you more organizational structure, because people come and go. And so if you have to build your pipeline, and I think where you build it up where it can become a standalone. And then the other piece of that is looking at how to make sure that insurance piece is covered, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I think everybody wants to support a farmer's market, but I'm looking at how do we make sure that we have instruments in place that protect the town, protect the participants, and protect the residents who are utilizing the services or products that come from the farmer's market. And so I think the insurance is that instrument, but then working it out. So it's almost like two different things. You have insurance on one side, organizational piece to help it grow. And then being able to learn more from the Friends of Only market, I think would be advantageous. So yeah, I think if we were able just to do like a powwow where they come in and we just brainstorm together, because I think we all want the same thing, but we just got to figure out how do we get to that point, and then watch out for anything that we might not see.
Yep, and that was our discussion right there. It was down that same vein.
If anybody gets a chance, I recommend going to the Olney Farmers Market. It's a pretty impressive spread. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to have that kind of size here, but you can make a day, a morning of it. You can go and listen to music. You can go to food trucks. I mean, there's lots of different produce. It's a pretty cool scene. It'd be nice if we could help these ladies with the farmers market by like somehow support possible entertainment. If we could devote some resources trying to find them help them find a couple food truck or two.
We talked about that.
Is that on the old Montgomery General Hospital?
I'm not sure
I think
like
it is. Yes, it's a hospital grounds,
the
yeah.
piece of land, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to it one time for reasons I won't go into, but it was really quite impressive. Yeah.
Sounds like a field trip, maybe a couple of
Yeah.
delegations.
There you go.
Check it out.
There you go.
Jay, are we falling off the tracks?
I think this is great. We really need to have some details on this. And, my concern is always that we have to protect the town. And I know the insurance is the big wet blanket for everybody, but that's how it happens. And I did some more research on it. And, we have to drill down, and maybe a little meeting that we're talking about is specifics, is that, we can't insure other people. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So if you just say, could we pay money to pay their premium? Money solves the problem, but they would still have to get the insurance, and we could push them in the direction. But you see what I'm saying is that we are always protected. We want them to be protected so that if there's an issue, people don't come after us. So it's not to poo-poo anything. It's just a matter of, let's talk specifics about what we're doing. And, it's easily resolved if we're just talking about trying to get structure and money in place. The details can be worked out.
And I'm not trying to, I know you're not throwing poo-poo, and I'm not either, and I guess that's a farmer term, but I want to see, and the commissioners, you guys can all, everybody's entitled to their own thoughts, but I want to, I run a huge major basketball league with two other guys that has 160 teams in it. And we require that the organizations that play in the league have a structure. And we require that they run their own structure. And we set some guidelines for them. And we do the scheduling. And we make sure the officials show up. We got all that. But in the end, if they don't have a structure, it can't just be like a dad coaching a team and they get in the league that one year. They have to have an ongoing structure that gives them almost like bylaws and a board of directors and people that know how to do things. That's the way that I'd like to see these guys do this. And whatever help we can give them, great. I want to do that. But unless there's an ongoing, continual structure where they actually have a real organization behind it and they're committed to the organization and it's a long-term organization, as best as like we take on basketball teams and they may last in the league for 6, 8, 10 years, but they don't last 1 year to get one season to get the one coach's son to play a year in the league. They're an organization behind them. There's a structure behind them. However we end up having to do that we can help them with, I'm in favor of it too. But I don't want to be the structure. I like being the umbrella.
You're not talking about, like, in your scenario, you're not like each basketball team that's in your league has a structure. You're not talking about each individual vendor having like a structure, like their own personal insurance, because that's not realistic. It's going to be like, Joe Long selling his honey, and he's probably not going to go out and buy insurance just to come here once a week.
Those are like the players, and the organization heads are, say, Lori and Elise, where they develop a structure that has potentially their own version of a board of directors, so that when Lori or Elise say that they've had enough, that they've got a vice president that's ready to step up and run things, and it just doesn't fall back on our shoulders, the success or fail of it.
But we would be there to support them and have some continuity, to allow some continuity.
And I'm good with that too.
And everything else.
Yeah, and Jim, in your scenario, and what you're saying too, Wade, I mean, I guess that when they come in and they ask for money for insurance and for the support that they need, like, in our part will be returned to ask them, like, well, let's see your structure, tell us your plan, like, show us, that you're organized, and then if you have your act together, we'll give you what you need.
Yeah,
okay.
Just like we do Poolsville Day, and we did the seniors, and we did them probably 4 or 5 years, and then they kind of stopped having to come back because they were getting successful.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, during our meeting, Friday on the Commons, when it first started out. Some of our concerts that we had, we didn't have too many attendees. I mean, it took a couple of years to get that off of the ground. And I see the same thing here. The more successful it gets, and then other vendors, we reach out, network down county, and they're doing a good job of that now. More are going to want to come up here, and that's how the whole, there's synergy involved with the whole thing, I think, once it gets to that level.
And we give them, I'm totally in favor of all the tools they need that are within our world to give, to be able to do that. I just want that structure to be, that cannot be our responsibility. The structure has to be the people that are living it and doing it and designing a succession line and a growth line. It has to be part of all that.
Right. And so I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. I think that 5013C is that tool that provides folks with the structure. It has where you have to have your bylaws, you have to have your officers. And so then I think we could provide guidance and oversight, support. But I think having something that's more formal in place allows it to have a greater probability of success. And then also I think you give the opportunity for other members of the community to get involved in a leadership role to help see it to be successful.
So I guess the bottom line question is, would you guys support helping them get set up in that organizational type thing, if that's what they want to do?
My short answer is yes.
Yeah, me too. I've just said, I can't ever have a doubt that structure created and supplied by them is going to be critical to that. And I think we speak wholeheartedly that all of us are in favor of helping with marketing, helping with expertise, with town website positioning, part of our normal.
Yeah, so that's things we're gonna.
We have some things that come our
automatically
way.
Start happening right now this year.
Yeah.
We start talking about it is
Good.
the marketing aspect of it. We're gonna build a web page on our website under things to do, so there's a home there for it all the time. I mean, people come to just search the Poolsville website for different stuff, what's going on or whatever, and they'll see that there. They also have their own website, I'm gonna link it to that, but also maybe have a list of the vendors in there, and if any of those vendors have links themselves, just build it all in there, so it's a all-inclusive type, a place for them to be.
And just thinking this totally through, like, is there any, do we want to have any parameters as to, in terms of what's sold there? Like, what if having heard about these two women that are running it, like, I think they probably run a very good, like, clean ship and all, but, hypothetically, what if someone was selling tobacco products or, something that we're not so happy about? Like, would we have
Jay.
retained some kind of control?
Get out of Jay. I don't know. I don't think so, but.
Yeah, we're going to have some restrictions in place, and I think that the successful ones limit, or maybe not limit's the wrong word, create diversity. Not everybody wants to buy salsa, so you have to have different mixes of vendors, and I think
Sure.
that some people say, I'm only going to come if I'm going to be the only salsa vendor, something like that. So I think it's in the weeds, but that has to be done.
Yeah, I agree. So again, like I reiterate that, I think it's not a bad idea to have like a work session. I don't know, Jay, if that's something allowed with the commissioners and these two women who are organizing it. That no decisions made, no policy stuff, but just a work session to sort of like see where they are, where we are, and how we can help them.
I think Jay, you guys can meet with them if you want to, but I think Wade's already kind of accomplished that to some degree. Is there?
What do you guys need?
It doesn't matter to me.
I don't know how
If
much
the
time
commissioners
they
want to
have
meet with
also,
them, that's
but
fine.
There's other issues we should talk about, like the entertainment, and
Okay.
and I
Yeah,
think,
let's move to that, then we'll come back to it.
Because, so I said, yeah, you need some more money to pay for some of these, for entertainment to come. And they have more of an organic approach to it, where they have volunteers, or somebody who has CDs they want to hand out. And so they have some entertainment lined up. And I didn't want to, I don't want to step on them either, because they have a lot of great ideas themselves and stuff, and, but that's something we could talk about. But I think they like their own control. That's why I like the 501(c). They still have their own control of everything, and we're just supporting them.
Did you
So-
get the sense that they were kind of willing to take on the 501(c) administrative burden?
I think that, I'm not for sure how much of a burden it'll be. We will be helping them, and they'll have to file their taxes and stuff, but that's gonna be
Yeah.
part of their annual budget, and that they're gonna submit to us, that they're gonna wanna do. We're gonna have to help them get off the ground, obviously, by doing
Yeah,
this.
okay.
And I don't think it's gonna be a huge undertaking financially, but they will need some help getting off the ground.
Yeah, I just think that it all sounds good to me, like just that, Jay put together some kind of legal parameters, on, things they can and can't do, like, I don't want to be like, big brother and over, like, micromanaging,
exactly.
but just some basic things to cover our, what's in case, I don't know, like these two women sound great, but they might not always be running it, so.
Yes, no, good point, good point. Food trucks we talked about, they were having a difficult time for the small amount of, attendees in a small window. So Kathy's gonna talk to some of her vendors and see if we can entice them to come up here, especially if we start having them with some of our events, like they're gonna be out, the farmer's market's gonna be out there at the same time, May 14th, when we're having our event out here. So we're definitely probably get some food trucks in here, or vendors of some sort, we're trying to, and people are having a hard time getting help to set up, but. She's listening right now, so. So really, that was our meeting in a nutshell. I mean, it was a really, really good meeting. It was all positive, and I think that, talk is one thing, but they want to see and we want to see and move forward. They're going to need some help doing it. So, I mean, it's a good, I think we have a direction.
Yeah, we've gone from last year having this kind of like, loosely organized thing that, the town kind of didn't really do much, didn't have much to do with. And, now we're talking about like really putting some power behind it and a little bit of money behind it. And, yeah, great. It's a good thing.
It's definitely, definitely can be a great partnership, and depending on the ability to produce the structure. It sounds like they definitely have it together, so. So Wade,
They do.
we're just going to leave this that, I mean, if you guys want to have a meeting with them, we can either have them come to the next meeting, or I don't know what kind of conference the commissioners want to have with the organizers.
I'll follow Wade's cue on that, whatever Wade thinks is most appropriate or most productive, I'm happy to do.
I could talk to them and reach out to them. I mean, I don't want to push them or anything, but I think they're on board with it. But let me just talk to them.
Yeah, give
That's
them
what
our
it sounds
leaning.
like.
Yeah, give them our leaning and our support again, which I think they know they have, but please do that. And then see what they feel like is next in terms of how they want to, further the ball.
Yeah, well, the only thing I would add is maybe in your discussion, how would they envision the town helping them and the role that they would see the town playing to support them and,
Right.
and then continue with everything else that was
Yep.
said.
Yep, that's it. That's good. Okay, you have a direction. Good stuff, good conversation. Started out with something and turned into something else a lot better, and that's great. So looking forward to more positive movement on that. Very good. Anything else on the farmer's market from anybody? New business. Thanks, everybody, for the contribution. Arbor Day Proclamation. Give us the short version of this, Wade.
You have a copy in front of you. This is for the Sustainable Poolsville. It's going to take care of last year as well as this year as far as April 30th being for the Tree City recertification. So you have a,
Gotcha. So we skipped last year. This used to be something, actually, we all did. We all
Every
helped
year.
plant trees every
Went to the
year. It was,
schools and planted
it was a lot of
trees.
fun watching some of the commissioners plant trees back in the day.
This looks good to me, I have no problems with it, I read it over.
You need a
Great.
motion or?
Yep, let's take a motion.
Sure, I motion that we adopt the Arbor Day proclamation.
Great. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the Arbor Day Proclamation 2022, and this covers 2 years. Do we have a second? Second from Martin. Any other questions on Arbor Day Proclamation? None? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, Arbor Day Proclamation has been approved 4-0. Looking forward to watching it be celebrated. Great. Okay, next up is new business? Oh, internal, external controls review is still new business? Did I miss that?
well,
I
we've
guess
never
it
really
is.
talked about it in an open session.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Right.
this kind of stems from, as Tony was exiting, Martin was asking about some blind spots that may be out there from his experienced manager. And he shot a list to Martin, and so Martin asked me to put it on the agenda. I have included in blue lettering some of my comments on some of the stuff we're working through, but I think Martin really wanted to go through these and discuss them.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably gonna take a ton of time, but, when you got somebody of Tony's caliber, it seems like that the things he's taken the time to mention, put the thought into warrant a little bit of discussion.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And so what, Wade, you prepared responses. We've had multiple conversations about this over the last couple of weeks, trying to formulate a direction and to best use Tony's input to help us both get better and, I guess, deal with whatever blind spots there would be and help us shape some direction on cutting off future blind spots. So Wade, you gave us back a blue line. I actually have to know, Wade prepared one, and I kicked it back to him and said, no, more. Give us more. And so he did send back a changed one, which I thought was a little more encompassing and tackled some of the items that we have been talking about. So, Wade, I don't know sure how much more you want to cover that with us here.
Well, some of the stuff was a little vague, and I didn't know what some of it was really referring to. Some of it was practices that were in place when I was here before. They just stopped, anything from the website to financial updates to the commissioners. I mean, you've had more financial updates from me probably in the last 2.5 months than you've had in the last 2 years.
And some of it's been addressed with the new budget, like, missed grant opportunities. I mean, at some point, it sounds like you're gonna put a, ad out there for a part-time grant writer, so that covers that.
The website was, so I disagree with it actually, because it's not a reliable source of information. It is what you put into it. If you don't have information going out, well, then it's not reliable, yes. So there was stuff on there from 2019 when I left that hadn't been updated at all, and pictures and stuff, and so, first thing I did was start going to change the stories, doing news flashes, change the front page, have stories be updated on front page, working with Link sending me stories to put up for the fair access little category box I have, so, I mean, it's only as good as how much you use it and, how staff uses it, so.
Yeah, I think, Wade, you've answered adequately. I mean, I think, again, this probably can be broken into three categories. One is there are blind spots that we have to deal with and that they've been brought to our attention, and I'm appreciative of the fact that they were brought to our attention and we're dealing with them. Two are the ones that we were going to take care of anyway, once we kind of switched up our leadership and, had a little more experience at the helm, not talking about behind the commissioner desk, but also just really a town manager position. And they've been dealt with. And then three are ones that I think are going to be pending, and maybe they were the observations of a very experienced town person from another place that wasn't Poolsville that came back to us with, I would call it information that we find usable. And I'm not necessarily sure that it's actionable, but it's definitely usable.
Well, like the social media one, I mean, I'm certainly not an expert. I have a Facebook page that I look at other people's Facebook pages with. I don't comment much, but that's the extent of, my social media activity, really. But I know, like from Gaithersburg, I'm sure they have a staff person that tweets and does Twitter and whatever else the stuff is, but.
Well, we clearly don't
that.
need.
Do we want that? I mean, that's.
Yeah, we don't need the social media presence that Gaithersburg has. I mean, but it would be nice to have something in place, and I guess we do kind of have something, but more consistent. The things that jump out at me is wanting to talk about, and I've touched on this a little bit before, but physical premises security and data security. Tony had what I thought was a great idea about having cameras in town hall. Just because when people come in and they get irate or whatever, they're going to behave differently. If there's cameras there, if anybody would ever come in, God forbid, and try to rob town hall or something crazy like that, like having cameras, security of the premises, the data security is important. And then the other thing is we talked about staff emails.
So I've got that set up now.
Yeah, great. And the lack of diversity.
That's a tricky one.
That is a tricky one. I mean, if people aren't applying for the jobs, what are you going to do? But
So we are limited because public transportation is a thing, actually, that impacts part of the, different minority groups or whatever from, traveling this far out if they can't get here to
Yeah.
work, if they don't have a vehicle.
Well, I think
There's
all
so
you
many
can.
different things from being out here in the middle of the country,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
I think all you can do, Wade, for your part is just to prepare, prepare the battlefield, so to speak, for if somebody were to come and get hired, that it's not going to be some kind of shock to the system, or that it's an inclusive workplace, a welcoming workplace, and I think it probably mostly is. But if there's anything you see there that maybe you're not sure. If it would be if we hired a woman, for example, to work, who was really wanted to work at the treatment plant or something like that, that it would be that she could do her job effectively and safely, and
Yes, and we've had women there before.
yeah, so.
Just one question for you, and again, I'm very appreciative to Tony and for Martin for the follow-up on this. Do we extend to Tony a chance to even come in and talk about it a little bit?
I did, and he was actually busy this evening. He had
Okay.
previous plans already.
All right, well, good. I still commend him for his help on this. And, again, Tony steals my favorite catchphrase, but it's a working document, and I think we have to continue to look at it and also make sure that we're kind of covering our bases. So I welcome any other commentary from the commissioners on it. Otherwise, we're going to let it go for now.
Yeah, I'll just make a couple comments. Just when I had a chance to read over it, and I think that there's some things that we already have in place. When I think about the meetings we had with the consultants and their recommendations, so when you talked about the data security, well, that's something that came up, and I think that as we look at these blind spots, we have to cross-reference with the recommendations that we're acting on from the consultants that have come to us. And I think once we do that, we'll see that this list is dramatically decreased from what's in front of us. So I believe we're headed in the right direction.
I think so,
say-
too.
Yeah, I do. I think the atmosphere has improved a lot. I think that you have staff that are pleased with the outcomes of things that we've been doing.
As well as the input that they gave has been effective and also been acted on.
They feel heard, which is important. I mean, like, they were able to vent and like, and say what their things are. On a slightly related note, I touched on this, Wade, at the last planning commission meeting, as a kind of, before we started, a kind of an, off the cuff remark, but like a sort of a semi-epiphany I had that, like, semi-epiphany, that's a fancy term, very, very scientific. We've been fortunate with Wade, because Wade, in my opinion, is a guy that comes in and gives 110%. Like, he's a hard worker. We've all worked in places where, you see that, the typical person isn't going to give 110%. Like the labor market is such, and people are such that, you're lucky if you get like someone that's giving 75% of their best, So I think we have to take that into account too. With, at some point Wade's going to leave, and you can't just, it's not a 1-for-1 swap, like you can't just hire somebody and, and it's probably not even a 2-for-1 swap, because we're getting an assistant town manager too. I think that's something to keep in mind, that like, I would be very shocked if we found someone that was, we might find someone with more experience in Wade, with more, like whatever, but like the work ethic part is like something that, like, I imagine we're not going to find again. We might get lucky, but that's something to keep in mind. You don't want to have Wade leave and then have a town manager who's overwhelmed, and like, assistant manager who just, they're giving 75% each, and it's just not quite enough. So
I can tell you that, and I appreciate that, and I'll echo it. So we talk all the time about this. What does the future look like in terms of, in addition to what we've already talked about in terms of hiring an assistant town manager, and hierarchy and longevity and wealth of knowledge? Those are all parts of the normal conversation we have. How does this look moving forward? Because we have to be able to set up basically our own infrastructure for this, which we really kind of haven't had. And then once we have that infrastructure set up, it's implementing and integrating those people and systems that are all going to be changing over the next time period, whatever that time period is. So this has spurred on all those conversations.
Yeah, and these are super important conversations, because there's going to come a time when Wade is going to leave and he ain't going to come back. He's going to be like, okay, I'm done with this bullshit. Like, I'm done with you guys. And at that point, we
7-second delay.
yeah, exactly. But we have to have a management structure in place that's realistic, and not like somebody coming in going, oh my goodness, like, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do this, and like, like this like spiraling, and Bobby's maybe retired by that point, and like we're in big trouble, and like, we have a couple really rough years, nobody wants bloated government, but if there's enough people in town hall, like, you get a little bit of redundancy, and at least if somebody leaves, like, there's like people to pick up the slack and people that have developed some institutional knowledge, rather than, we can all agree that we're running a very bare bones staff in town hall. That's been made painfully obvious for us by like consultants and by like the email I sent about other, so I think we just got to be careful that, like, we're not going to be so fortunate to have Wade forever, and when that time comes, we really have to have our act together, and we really have to like have the, town hall staffed properly.
Yep, those are exact conversations that we do have.
That's conversations we have regularly.
So to that point, what I would say is that we continue this to make sure we have the succession planning that takes place, and that we help when that new assistant town manager comes in, making sure that person is groomed and coached in such a way that is helpful. The other part I would say too, just when I did read over the blind spots, there was one that just said, I guess, TC staff involvement. And so, yeah, so I was trying to figure out what the TC was. The town commissioner, was it
Town
town
commissioner, I
clerk?
believe.
I thought it was town commissioner, and so I think hopefully we've done, as commissioners, that we've done a better job with staying in our lanes. I think that's something we talked about a year ago, how important that is, that we all have our lanes, so that we're not, each commissioner going in out of their lane, because that creates an atmosphere piece.
And I think it's kind of a, you're in a great position, because like, you can tell us what's up, because like, like we kind of need you, like you're kind of like 1 foot in retirement or whatever, but like you need, I think part of your job has to be, you have to help us, train us to like, if you see us go stepping out of our lanes, or like something that like, I'm going to make a decision for Wade when this is not a policy decision, which is a commissioner decision. It's a town manager decision. You need to tell us like, hey, like I got this. Like, get back in your lane.
I've always been very frank with everybody. I
Yeah,
think.
good.
Yeah.
is there when would be the next opportunity to have the employee survey?
We wanted to wait
Because
6 months from the last one.
The employee survey, the last one was harsh,
Hard to read.
harsh.
Yes.
And, you
So
know.
a couple more
it-
months, maybe in the summer or
It kind of
something.
feels to me like the boat is a little more upright, and the pole's been plugged, so it's not taking out water. But that's not fair for me to say it, right?
With them to-
I want to hear it from the folks who
Well,
are.
the one thing you need to know, Jeff, is that, so we are gonna poll, and we've talked about this inside our meetings too. We're definitely gonna survey the employees again, but we also wanna make sure that, everything has already, we've taken action on things that's still just now being implemented. And we want
Yeah,
a
yeah.
period of time to go by before we go back to those
Right,
guys.
right, yeah.
And ladies, and we have a game plan with that too. So it is gonna take place, it's gonna be comprehensive, and it's gonna be, it's gonna include the changes that we've all agreed to make and have stepped forward on, so it's,
And keep in mind too that, you know, we heard this from Tony that, you know, like some of those answers are just like, you know, you're always going to hear some of that, you know, like if you ask a staff member, are they paid enough? Like, you know, most times they're going to be like, no, I think I deserve a little bit more. I mean, we all do, right? Like, I know me as a commissioner, I think I should get a little bit of a
Me
raise.
too. Let's, right, you
but,
guys, let's vote on that.
Oh, that would be a hot Facebook topic, huh?
Yeah, I'll
But, you know,
forfeit
but I
mine,
mean,
but I'll
like-
bring it up.
So there's going to be some of that, right? Like, you know, so some of that, I didn't take a lot of that stuff personally because I think some of it's like, you know, there's definitely information to glean off of what they had to say. But, you know, I think other things, like as Tony indicated, Tony's done a bunch of these, you know, over the years, apparently. You know, some of it's just to be expected. But I mean, certainly we want to hear what they have to say. Like, they should be heard. You know, we should take it seriously. And I think we've shown that we do. I mean, like, you know, like we, between the survey and probably more importantly, like, I guess it was you and with some of Tony's help, like went out and like found out what other people were making, what other benefits were, you know, and we got it together and we ponied up and did the right thing. So
And it's more than that, I can tell you. We've just been giving them what they wanted and what they deserved.
Yeah.
So it's been, that's what they needed.
That's what it is. It's not, you know, like we can't, you know, you can't give
not
everything
just money.
everything they wanted, but now we can look them in the eye and say you are getting fair compensation. You know, it might not be the best in the world, but it's fair, and you know, you have a safe workplace, a good workplace, a healthy work environment. Like you're compensated fairly, your benefits are fair. I mean, that's really important.
Well, one of the comments which is in the survey, in more than one spot, it clearly said in these words, the commissioners don't care about us. And that was in there more than once. And then I remember having, I'm not putting this on anybody but me, I had a conversation with Tony, and I said, what do we do to fix this? Should each commissioner develop a better relationship? Because there was also the commissioners don't know our names. And I'm completely guilty of that. I mean, I know several of the folks, but not everyone by first name. And I don't know what to do about that. And I asked Tony, what should I do about that? Should we do it as a group? Should we do it individually? And I don't think there was an answer.
I think we've done it.
Well, I don't feel like I've done it.
But you can, the way he's told us before, like that, you know, we don't need to go down there and hang out with them or whatever. Like, you know, make sure you wave to them. And I think the important thing, I don't want to speak for them, but I strongly suspect the important thing is that they feel like their benefits and their pay are fair. And I think that's probably something that they're feeling a lot more.
And they
you
were
know,
heard, like you said
Yeah,
before.
Yeah.
and that they're heard. So.
And you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to think about having a springtime or summer picnic in the Commons or something, and meet and greet, whatever the commissioners, and so, you know, we're still brainstorming a lot of things. Still, a lot of things have to happen off of that survey we've not even completed, like the training.
The only problem with those kind of picnics is that, you know, like sometimes like, you know, they want to go home or whatever, like they don't really want to be there, and it's sort of like, you know, like, but I'm all for any kind of thing like that we can, you know, show our gratitude. I mean, that thing that, I don't know who organized it, but we had at Bassett's that time with and we invited like, I think it was all the staff and like all the people on boards, various, like the Parks Board, this, you know, everything. That was a nice event, and people were really grateful for that. I think there was like a raffle, and like people won little gifts and stuff, and I mean, that worked out great.
So I would just say that I think our role is to make sure that the policy decisions that we make create an atmosphere where employees feel respected, feel heard, and that we continue to make sure that we're looking out for their best interests within the things that we impact and influence. I think that's how you bring about support, bring about change in a positive direction, and continue to support the town manager, and then make sure that the town manager has the tools that he needs, or in the future, if it's a he or a she. So when we stay in our lane and we do what we're supposed to do, I think that's what's going to be looked at the most. And then the other thing, the feel good, touchy things are nice, and I think we should do those things. But ultimately, it goes back to the decisions that we make and how those decisions affect their working conditions.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to argue that, like, you know, the discussions we've had and the things we've undertaken that, you know, that we don't care. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to see that, you know, they're being compensated and treated fairly is important to us, so.
I don't disagree with any of that at all. And, you know, everybody wants to be compensated fairly and whatnot, but it always seems to me that although you might raise your hand and say that's the most important, and oftentimes it isn't. It's how folks are treated, and so that they can feel the appreciation. And to me, that is ranking number one, and pay is up, you know, right up there, maybe number two or 1.5 or something. But I really feel it's more a personal appreciation from, and I don't want to say the boss, but, you know, in case of Wade, I'm sure everyone feels the appreciation from you. But I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I don't have a sense that the town employees, the town staff, feel a sense of appreciation from me, because I don't know how to show that. Right? I'm like, I'm not going to go down to the water treatment plant and stay there all day.
I think we should send him down there to work for a day. It worked for a day.
Go home. So I don't know how to show it. Yeah, I don't know. Just
I think
my
you're
own
showing it
feeling,
now.
I guess.
They
but I-
actually, they watch the meetings. A couple of them do, and that's their lunch conversation is what happened, who said what, and they do.
Without trying to belabor it,
Yeah.
now that they trust our leadership again, that's seriously one of the biggest things that we could possibly say.
And we'll check in with them again in a few months and see where they're at, so.
And we've taken care of them. They trust our leadership again. They feel like they can go into work. There's not going to be any nutty stuff going on or unexpected. They know what to expect.
And
So
going
it's
forward,
been
you know,
good.
like whoever's town manager after you, Wade, and as long as you're here, like I would hope that like we would keep doing reviews, you know, keep doing like you know, like putting feelers out and seeing what other benefits are, you know, so making sure we're staying current, and that we, you know, keep doing these employee surveys. I mean, they should be something that's done like, I don't know, yearly, 6 months, whatever the industry standard is. You know, I don't think it should be just like, you know, done now because it's kind of blown up
No,
and then like we forget about them.
industry standard.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Brown, I'm going to see if I can get the last word. Jeff, were you ready to say something? I don't want to cut you off.
I'll say the last one. All in favor of adjournment?
No.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if I grab the last word on this piece, last word would be, with us going toward you, Wade, if you think of some things that we can do to help support the work that you're doing, if there are tools and policy, these things that need to be looked at or discussed, then just let us know, and we move accordingly. So, that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the good conversation to everybody on that one. I sounds like we have more money to be spent. Go ahead, John.
Mr. Strong.
Give us the bad news, or the good news, as it would be. Yeah.
Well, it's good and bad news. How's that? All right. So, at the Fisher Avenue pump station, which serves West Willard, portion of Fisher Avenue, and Wooten Avenue, there are several connections that were made back in the day that the line came in directly from the building into the lateral at a 90-degree angle, and then from that 90-degree angle, it went straight down perpendicular into the main line, which creates a whole host of problems. Also, the structure the way they attached it to the to the main line was by brick and mortar, which trying to make a connection out of a square, it's the round peg in the square hole. So we discovered 11 of these connections in the system, and we can't put a liner in it because we can't get that 90-degree bend directly without creating a crease, which then goes ahead and creates a area where the flow can't pass through. So what has to happen is you have to excavate out that connection point, and that connection point's in the roadways. Okay. All 11 of them. Yes.
My parking lot? The guys have spent a lot of time.
Yeah, because the main's not in the main's in the street.
No, okay.
Yeah. So so we're going to have to excavate those out, create a connection with 245s, which can be lined, and then we'll be able to line the entire connection point at the main all the way back to the lateral to the clean out. So that can be fixed. That's the good news. The other part of the budget, the news is the budget. It looks like it's going to cost, and we looked at the numbers very carefully to make sure it made sense. Those 11 connections will run $137,318 to do that connection on all 11 of those units. That being said, the other good news is the town did get money from the American Rescue Funds for water and sewer work, and we'll be able to go ahead and take the monies we have, monies available, and use that to make that do that amendment to the budget for this purpose.
Wade and John, is this coming from the first tranche of funding that we've
Yes.
seen from them? Okay,
Yes, it's coming
got it.
for the
That's what I
first
thought.
tranche, and roughly we've spent, if this goes through, roughly, mind you, will be around $1.1 million that of the 1.8 in that first tranche. And remember that we're looking at a water line project on the second tranche through Wooten Avenue area, which has been problematic, and some of the lines are pretty thin. So
Does Poolsville own that road?
we own most of the road. The little portion on Fisher Avenue is held by Montgomery County, and we would have to go through the process with Montgomery County for the permitting for that. But you have an easement over that already, so it's not really.
Poolsville owns from Wooten to Elgin, right? And this is a little bit behind.
You own from, yes, Wooten to Elgin, yes.
And then like Jim's office is beyond Elgin.
Yeah, if you think of where John's hardware shop is, that's the pump station.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually White's Ferry Road. Once
Yeah,
you
it's
cross
White's
over,
Ferry.
it's White's Ferry.
It becomes, yeah.
Do we all understand this? I mean, if it needs to be done, I'm willing to make a motion.
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm good.
Are all 11 like in a row?
No,
Or they're just spotted everywhere?
they're willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly?
This is just bring me back to the day when it used to be, I remember being quoted like $10,000 to $12,000 per repair, per dig.
Yeah.
So it's still adding up, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Never got
absolutely.
cheaper.
Never did.
Nothing gets cheaper.
Never, ever.
All right, very good. So Martin, go ahead, buddy.
So I make a motion that we approve the $137,318 that Clark Azar is asking for the 11 laterals coming from the American Rescue Fund. Is that a separate account?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so there you have it.
That's good enough. Okay, Martin's made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second this motion.
Second from Ed. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Take your money and run, sir. Spend it wisely.
It's not mine. I
You're just
I
putting it in the
wave
ground.
my hand and
Right.
send it on ways.
You're burying it somewhere. Is that what you're trying to say? Literally? All right, let's not spread that rumor around. Okay. Town managers report, please.
Okay, John and I have been working on a couple of projects that have kind of been around for a while and not acted on. And one is the West Willard Westerly Sidewalk Project. So at the intersection of Westerly and West Willard, we couldn't really jump on this project until West Willard was ours. Now it's ours. So there's a sidewalk coming from, a trail coming from Westerly Grove, and then the sidewalk from Westerly Avenue coming up to West Willard is dead ends right there. So what we're working on is getting the area surveyed. We'll have to get an easement or right-of-way from the homeowner on one side of the street, and then we'll be able to build a sidewalk down, have a crosswalk cross over to Stony Spring side, and then that'll continue down to the high school and into the middle of town. So it's something that's been on the books for a while. There's funding in there for it, so we're just acting on it.
That's a sidewalk, right?
Yes. Yeah. It'll be, I mean, it's a small piece of a sidewalk, but there's just a small piece missing on the whole intersection right there that you can't. Yes. Yes, at the Stony, yeah, during that, at that development, it's dead ends right there. And then up on the westerly, the corner, dead end, so there's like a section of, 150 yards that's missing. But it's kind of tricky to build it, actually.
Pedestrian bridge? Kidding. But that will help the kids get to the high school, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Streetlights, we've had that in the budget, talk about switching over to LEDs for a long time, too. So we just submitted a multi-stage grant, and there's different buckets of money we're kind of leveraging together. One is from the MSEC grant, one is from my SOL, which is a streetlight operations fund, both of it Maryland Energy Administration. And also there's some energy rebates available from First Energy. So we're looking at doing, replacing 351 fixture heads themselves, and then retrofitting 386 lamps that are the newer lamps, but you're able to take the ballast out and put a lamp inside of it, so they'll all be LED. The price is about $305,000, and it looks like we might be able to get the majority of it, if not all of it, paid for by grants. So we've submitted everything in, so that'll be a good one. Not only just good to get that done, but then once we get it done, the price drops from $15 per light per month to like $5 per light per month. And we got that rate set up in, was it 2007 or something?
You were the first one to testify on that, right?
Yeah, with Public
To
Service
bring that in.
Commission.
Yeah,
With Mike
way long
Knapp.
time ago.
Yeah, we were the first town in Maryland to get that, yeah.
But I recollected that Pepco was not willing to change our rate. Is that different now?
We have it. We already have it changed. We get half, all our LEDs are getting charged much less, yes.
Wow, that's great, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
less power.
Right, yeah. Yep. Yeah, we're the only municipality that has that, Jeff. Or did have that. I mean, there may be more Jeff getting on now, but
That's low hanging
yeah,
fruit.
it happened a long time ago. So this is from Bobby and Preston. They, the streetscape, we talked about it, we have the funds in there. They would like me to request to go ahead and put in 6 lights across the front of Wayland, according to the streetscape plan, which is the lights that we have right here on the side, and then be able to put the banners up and create that kind of an atmosphere of, or a pilot project of, this is what streetscape's gonna look like someday, just to kind of get the energy and flow, and it was a great idea. I said, okay. That's a great idea. So the money's in there, there's no budget amendment, there's nothing, but, I didn't want to start just digging holes out there, and you guys say, what are you doing? So, but that's kind of a neat thing, so we'll move that forward. That was them, they were, I love hearing that, so.
Good citizens.
Yep. And then the last thing is, Bobby and I did meet with Antisha from MMC, talking about the HRS system, and we looked at one called Zenefits, and it's really kind of a neat platform. It allows a portal for the employees to be able to go in and see how much leave they have and what their benefits are and all this stuff, and then it makes it easier for them to submit timesheets. I mean, it's this whole process. There's a couple of them out there we're looking at, and we also want to make sure that it is compatible with either the QuickBooks or whatever financial system we're going to switch over to. So we still have a lot of homework to make sure these pieces all fit together, but we are moving forward with it and checking it out.
I can't tell you how happy that makes me. It seems like that makes really, really good sense.
Yeah. It'll make everything easier in the long run, too. It's one of
Yeah,
those
and less potential for mistake, less time that you've got to spend doing little busy work or whatever that, that can be automated. I think that's great. That's one way we're going to help, solve the problem of not having enough staff, is like getting better technology and utilizing that technology. Also, while you're doing town manager report, I kind of in my mind have committed to like asking about David Terrio's project every time, just because.
Oh, yeah.
So can I ask you about that? Is there any updates on that?
On the Old Methodist Church?
Yeah.
Yeah, received the title search back today. Everything's fine on it. The commissioners received it in 1953. And then there's some older deeds that I can't even read. They're all handwritten scripts of, it's amazing. But,
signature on that?
So that's where we were with that. There's no appraisal back yet. Where are we with the,
Finished up the, last Friday, they finished up the, survey of the property, and now they're putting it together. They said, hope to have the draft survey, submitted to us by either the end of the week or first part of next week.
so once that's in, we can get the easements on there, take it to the planning commission, get that plat approved. But while we're doing that, so the next meeting or two, I'll be introducing some covenants, or at least some draft covenants that we can all work on and see how everybody wants to play that out and start putting these pieces together.
And, you know, back to the streetscape thing, like, you know, just real briefly, I would love to see us start to, you know, move forward with that. Like, I think that's a great idea that Bobby and Preston had. But, you know, like, even beyond that, like, I'd love to start, you know, when we get a new grant writer, try to start finding some grants and, like, really making headway on that. I mean, that plan was approved, like, 4 years ago or something like that. And, like, as far as I know, there hasn't been much done. I know when the Willards come in and finally get that'll be a piece of it.
And
But,
we
like,
did get some replies from Trone's office asking for some more information, so they're actually looking at that grant.
great. But I mean, there's no reason we can't start without the Willard project being in place, right? I mean, you know, like,
Oh, definitely.
start
definitely. I mean,
looking for
you can't do the-
roundabout
Yeah,
money
you
or
can-
whatever.
Yeah, there's several things you can do.
Yeah.
And we have a little bit, but yes.
Yeah, good.
Does the survey, Mr. Strong, include, wasn't there going to be some underground penetrating radar to identify the graves?
Negative.
No?
Nope, there'll be nothing to do with us.
What?
It is sold as is.
David Terrio, I think, presented that, and if he's,
Oh.
I think if he's the person that ends up being the person that gets it, they can do whatever they want to it.
Ken Scholes had just a dynamic,
Yeah, we'll supply
Copy
them
of
with the
that.
documents that we have from the original GPR work.
but it wasn't as good as Kenny Scholes, what he had shown.
Kenny-
That was-
His research was in.
His stuff, wherever he did that research was phenomenal.
He made it up.
He knows his stuff, that guy.
It was, that was
Yeah.
impressive. It's like, wow.
And Martin, to answer your question, I mean, in the remaining time of this term, I'm not going to refer to it as anything else. There's no question that streetscape is a priority here as time goes on. It's been on the books for a long time. I think we're going to be seeing some presentations coming up soon, you know, like over the course of this summer, where we're not waiting on Willard. And I think that we have to, as you said, it's plans been in place for a long time. There's some funding there. There's enough to get us to probably develop a game plan, at least, that can be implemented, so.
One
and
of the
we'll
things I
talk
should have
about it.
mentioned in the planning report, it's something I should have and shouldn't have mentioned, but the Willard project was on the agenda, but there was only 3 planning commissioners there, so they decided to wait till next month, so.
Good. Maybe it'll be more evolved from their standpoint at that point, so. Okay, very good. Does Wade, do I interrupt you? Anything else? That's all? Anybody else?
I make a motion, we adjourn?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are passed, we are adjourned.
Or the commissioner supposed to be somewhere?